So the installation is done finally. Took 4 weeks. I actually think they underestimated the amount of foam they're gonna have to put in this thing a little bit, but it's done. Still tons of work to do. So here's the deal. Had a lot of questions about whether I was gonna cover this up, whether I was gonna put fire retardant paint on it. A lot of people worried about me lighting this place on fire now that it's got foam in it. So many people asked about it that I felt like maybe it'd be a good video to do. So in this video, we're gonna light some foam on fire, or we're gonna try. So here's the deal, I got a bunch of samples. Basically when they were spraying this stuff, they would just tape off the outlets and then just spray right over it. And so those chunks had to come back off. So I've got some pretty thick, 1.5" sections of scrap foam. I've got a bunch of them. So we're gonna test them. We're gonna try to light them on fire. We're gonna try to light them on fire with several different things. I wanna try to do like real world shop scenarios. We're gonna go do some MIG welding really close to this stuff. We're gonna do some TIG welding, and then who knows, we even throw the torch at it. We'll do a little bit of everything and kind of see what happens to see if this stuff is really flammable, if it'll burn. Yeah. Now I will say that I have plans of putting sheeting on the inside of this whole shop. Not necessarily because I'm afraid of the foam burning, but because to achieve the look that I want in this place, I don't want it just to be raw foam. I want to put something over that. So I'm not really that worried about whether this stuff lights on fire or not, but let's just give it a try and see what happens. Might be fun. Might surprise you. I don't know. We'll see. I guess the least I could do is give you guys a quick look at the finished product as well. So this is the plans. I know I've kind of changed my mind a couple different times on what I'm going to do in here. This is what I'm gonna do now. This is the plan. Seaweed, don't chew up our foam samples. Don't be chewing up our foam samples there. So initially I was gonna sheet the whole thing. I was gonna use tin on the roof, some maybe wood down the center, some like barn style wood down the center. Put some wood up here on the edges, wood on the walls with some tin the roof. I was gonna do it all. Problem is, first of all, it's a ton of work, ton of money for that tin. I think that stuff's like 40, depending on what you buy, it's like $40 a sheet, which is only 36 inches wide by 12 feet. And this foam is pretty sensitive to UV light. The more UV light that it gets, it'll actually start to turn like a darker yellow and orange, and I think at some point it'll even start to break it down. I think it might take a long time, but they say that it will do that. So what I'm gonna do, the faster, cheaper way right now is to paint the ceiling. So I'm gonna paint the entire ceiling flat black. You can kind of see that I've already started painting some of the outlets that are up there just to make them disappear. I think flat black, the roof will just kind of disappear. The lights and the cables, the cords that go with the lights will kind of disappear. It'll protect it from the UV, and if I do decide to sheet it at some point, I can do that. I think it's gonna cost me like, I don't know, $300 in paint. So, and you know, maybe a weekend's worth of time. Still gonna sheet the walls though, and I think right now what I'm gonna do is just come up maybe 4 feet with tin, 4 or 6 feet, I hadn't really decided yet, and then do wood from there up. So it'll basically be like tin to some height, and then wood, barn style wood with slats that go this way, and then a black ceiling. And then what I'll do is the whole back side, I'll like take the wood all the way to the very top and try to make it look cool, and then same thing with the front. So that's the plans right now. I really need to get in this place. If I can get the ceiling painted this weekend, I can start working on the floors, get the floors painted, and then technically I can start moving stuff in. I can do the walls around my vehicles, around my shop equipment. Once the floors are done, I can move everything in and start working out of this space. start putting the welding table together, just start working. I can have the bib string here, I can actually do work, and then kind of pick away at the rest of the stuff that I want to do in here while I'm filming and working. So you can see it turned out pretty well. It's not super textured. I mean, it's got obviously some inconsistencies in there, but not extremely textured. I think that black is just gonna make it all disappear. Especially on camera. So like if you look at that on camera, it just looks like a black speck. Obviously in the building, you can kind of look up there and you can see some of the texture, but on camera, it's gonna disappear. Most people won't pay it no attention, and it'll be a good temporary fix for now. Got most of the lights in. I got one right in the center. It's not there. I actually had one of them go bad, which is weird. So sending it back, and I'll be getting another one. And then once I get everything painted too, I can start putting the rest of the lights up down the sides. Anyway, back to our regular scheduled programming. Let's head to the other shop, try to light some foam on fire. All right, so this is what I want to do. This is going to be highly scientific. Not really. I want to throw as many things as I think can light stuff on fire at this foam that kind of involves, you know, a fabrication shop or just, you know, a hobbyist in their garage, right? Grinding, TIG welding, MIG welding. What else? We'll try, do I have a lighter? We'll try a lighter, just see if a lighter will light it on fire. And then if that fails, if all else fails, or even if it doesn't, we're gonna throw a blowtorch at it. Not like an oxygen acetylene, just like a propane. And we'll see what happens. We'll see if we can light this thing up. The one thing I do wanna do though, that's not gonna be a real world scenario, is in a real world, you got foam on the walls, where you're not welding on the wall, right? You're welding out in the middle of the floor. But to make sure that we're kind of testing it to the extent, to make sure that we're really running this through its paces, we're gonna do everything right on top of it. So we're gonna TIG weld right next to it. We're gonna MIG weld right next to it. We're gonna grind some steel right next to it. We're just gonna see what happens. So let's do this. All right, test number one, grinding sparks. If I find a battery. Guess I'll be using Old Faithful because all my batteries are at the new house. All right, so the idea here is just try to create maximum sparkage right onto the spray foam at a very close proximity and see if we can get it to catch on fire. So it looks like, got it to melt definitely and burn, but it didn't really catch on fire. Kind of just burned it and smoldered and smoked a little bit. So definitely gave it a little charredness, charcoal. No fire. Didn't even really see any flame, just smoke. So let's do TIG welding next. there's TIG welding. Basically the same result. You got like a melting effect, you got some smoke, but no flame. And that was 100 amps, like within 3/4 of an inch. So still no combustion, no flammable, no fire. Let's keep going. Up next, gonna fire up the Trans-Steel 2700 and we will do some MIG welding. I actually think we use a big piece, try to catch maximum sparkage, slag, whatever else falls. See if we can get this thing to light on fire. Alright, so that was pretty interesting. We did get a little bit of a flame right there at the end. I actually just kept welding in the exact same location in hopes that we'd get some big chunks of molten metal to kind of fall, and it did. It just went straight through it. One little piece sat there and it burned while that stuff was hot, but as soon as it cooled off, flame went out. So MIG, we did see flame this time. So it burned, but it didn't catch on fire. It didn't keep burning. As soon as the heat source was gone, put itself out. So I don't know, you can kind of chalk that up to whatever you want. It'll burn, but not catch on fire. So I guess that just leaves us with the last test. By the way, this is like I don't know what kind of foam it is, to be honest with you. But I'm sure that the vapors of this burning aren't good for you to inhale. So yeah, if you're testing this yourself, don't huff it. So let's torch it, see what happens. Woo! So very similar to the MIG welding, it will burn, but as soon as you take the heat source away, flames go out. Now that's not to say that if you held it there for a long period of time that it may not light itself up and then basically continue to burn on its own heat source, kind of like it's doing right now. But it doesn't like to burn. So, what did we learn from this? Well, we learned not to take a torch to your foam walls. But, I mean, that being said, I wouldn't take a torch to any of your walls, wood or otherwise. So basically, what I'm taking from this experiment is I'm not even worried about my shop. A couple reasons why. First of all, I'm not going to torch the walls. Secondly, I do very little MIG welding, and it's not going to be on the wall, right? It's going to be 15 feet from the wall. Most of what I do is TIG welding, and I'm going to sheet it. But if I wasn't going to sheet it, I still wouldn't worry about it. This stuff, even if a little flame gets to it, it just puts itself out. It just chars it, puts itself out. It's not any different than anything else in your shop. So if you're worried about the world's largest Yeti cooler, my shop, going up in flames, don't worry. You can sleep now. You don't have to worry about me. I had one other concern too about it holding water. One of the reasons I want to put foam in the shop, or at least closed cell foam in the shop, was to seal every crevice in that place. No water leaks, no nothing. It could like withstand time, and I shouldn't have to worry about any leaks. And I had some comments about the foam holding water. The closed cell does not hold water. It's not even really something that's debatable on here on the channel, because I actually had a piece of foam that they sprayed that was kind of concaved, and if you follow the channel any, you know that it rains like 5 out of the 7 days every week, and that thing just held water in it forever and ever. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the whole time that they were working on the shop. Went out there one day, tipped it up, water poured out, and there was no water inside. The foam itself wasn't waterlogged, nothing. So definitely not something I'm concerned with. I think the open cell would. I think the open cell is more like a sponge, and it would just soak up that water. This closed cell stuff, let's see if I can break a little piece of this in half. So this closed cell stuff is really focus. This closed cell stuff is really dense. It's really dense foam. That's what makes the insulating properties of this stuff so good. Something the thickness of that is like probably, I don't know, R10, R12. I think it's R7 per inch. I mean, this is the same stuff they put in coolers. This is the same stuff they put in freezers in the walls. So anyway, hope that cleared up some questions, concerns you guys might have had about the new shop. We'll be sheeting it soon. Like I said, we're gonna paint the ceiling, get the floors done, start moving some stuff in, putting walls up. Soon, this space will be a thing of the past. Also, as you guys probably know, or a lot of you guys probably know, just had a child. So that's kind of been my little hiatus. Should be back on regular schedule here very soon, although these days regular is odd because I don't have a place to work. I'm moving, and yeah. So anyway, as always, thank you for joining me. I'll see you guys some more this week. Go do work, son.